Thank you so much for joining me back here for our live read of Junebug. This has been an interesting journey for me. Junebug is my personal story. And to start from finish, read that out loud, knowing people are going to be experiencing that has been an interesting journey for me, right? So I hope that you have grabbed your copy so that you could read along, and as we get close to winding up this story of Junebug and her trials through childhood sexual trauma. All right, so let's just hop right back in. With the kids grown, one in college and the other high school, empty nest pushing in all directions. Who am I without the doing? Sit still? Rest? I'm not even sure I know how. And then came the day Grandma passed away. I lost the last brick of my foundation, the only one I ever had. How can I go on when the only person to ever love me is gone? We moved Grandma in with Mom after her heart attack. The only way to see her was to keep the peace with the family. I get a call from Mom. June, we have Grandma back home now. We have things set up with hospice. They're saying she doesn't have more than a few weeks left. She's asking for you. Sundays are our days. I get her all to myself. Mom and Harold get a break. We talk and she remembers. She shares all of her funny stories. She gets so tickled telling the story about Dad and the gorilla. She doesn't have to look too far to find funny stories about Dad. She's trying to put the pieces together too, as if things are gnawing at her. She asks a lot of questions about Dad, remembering, connecting dots. She just shakes her head. Not good, she says. On Wednesday, I get a call. You'd better get down here, June. They say it won't be long now. Everyone's pretty gentle with me through this time. There's fear that this might be the last straw. I might fall off the edge. I quickly cancel all my appointments for the rest of the week. I throw a few things in a bag and I make the journey of goodbyes. Upon entering Mom's house, the weight in the air is palpable. The matriarch of our family, the glue that has held us together, is fading away, and the fragility of our house of cards presents itself clearly to all. I push my way through Aunt Carol and Uncle John to get back to the room they have set up for Grandma. There she is. She looks so small, so tiny. Her eyes are closed. She's lying so still, I can't breathe. She reaches out and takes hold of my hand firmly. I knew you'd come, she says. She works to speak. In her silence, she has gathered more of the pieces. She's trying to put the puzzle together too. On the other side, we have all the answers. Here in the game, it seems it's all about finding them again. Her last few pieces are close, and I hold the key. I make out only fragments, but I can easily fill in the rest. She's muttering about the numerous times I came knocking in the middle of the night with Chi-Chi under one arm. Why wouldn't you tell me, June? I don't know, Grandma. I was afraid. I just didn't know how. I'm sorry. I just didn't know. She shook her head. I just didn't know. Shh, now, Grandma. You knew what I allowed you to see. You're my angel. You know that. I wouldn't be here right now if it weren't for all you did for me. You did your job well. You gave me what I needed. Love. You quit worrying about me now. This is your time. I love you so much. With that, she closed her eyes, seeming to rest peacefully. I run from the room to the back door. The coughing has started. I can't breathe. I need some air. Mom follows me out. I can't be here. I can't do this. And I make a dash for my car. I drive and I drive, and I find a place to stay for the night. I need to be alone to think, how am I going to exist without her? Will I ever come back here? After a long sleepless night, I decide I have to go back. Not for them, but for her. She has given me so much. It's time to be there for her now. No one seems surprised to see me. Back in her room, she says the only words she has muttered since I left. I knew you'd come back. She's been waiting for you, Mom says. The stream of people never seemed to stop. So many people. Bob shows up with our 2 girls. We've been lucky enough to spend some fabulous time with Grandma through the years. She stayed with us for months and months at a time. More coughing. Can't breathe. I get Bob off to the side and you're going to have to be there for the girls. I tell him I can't do this. I have nothing to give them. They're going to need you. He holds me in a loving embrace. My cousin and I decide to take the shift through the night. Everyone is asleep. It's as if we're in some sort of void, just the 3 of us. He's reading the Bible to her softly. I again find my spot curling in beside her, remembering those long ago years, the stories, the feeling of safety, all laced with so much love. Whenever he took a needed break, I quietly tell her how loved she is, how much I love her. I love you so much, Grandma, but I'm going to be okay. It's okay to be tired, Grandma. You've done so many wonderful things for so many people. You've worked so hard. It's time to retire this costume and choose a new one. Go on home now. God is calling you. Early the next morning, Mom sends me down to get some rest. She promises to call me if there are any changes. My cousin has gone home to get some sleep. Aunt Carol's asleep in the basement and Uncle John in the living room. I no sooner get settled in when I hear Mom call my name. I take the stairs 2 at a time. Mom's lying beside Grandma, cradling her head in her arms, stroking her face. She's singing Amazing Grace, Grandma's favorite, ever so softly. Aunt Carol is close behind me. Uncle John has already taken his place. He moves over to make room. We join in the singing. She breathes her last breath. We come together as one in our love for her, at least for a moment. Now the hole is bigger, the void, the vacancy where family goes. I have to just keep moving. I have to keep moving. It threatens to swallow me. I have no one. She was the only incentive to keep up the charade, the pretense of family, of mother and daughter. Remember, a limb of the tree has fallen, but it has sprouted new roots. A small tree is beginning to grow, a healthy tree with no secrets. Remember, a tree where the roots begin with me and Bob and our girls. I find myself back at the beginning. I meander towards my new spot. My longtime companion and protector, Sadie, is stopped on the path up ahead, waiting impatiently for me to catch up. When I finally reach her, she falls in beside me for a second. It's a beautiful morning. The air is crisp in my lungs. The animals are resurfacing after their long winter slumber. The birds are fluttering. The sunlight filters through the newly sprouted leaves, a welcome contrast to the gray and dreary days of fading winter. Sadie darts off for a game of chase with a squirrel. She bounces through the underbrush of the woods, lining the path in search for her opponent. Her bounce reminds me of the feeling of flying over the creek with Ginger, and a smile brushes my lips at the thought of my dear old friend. We're getting close. Come on, Sadie Bird. The river's up ahead, I call out. She bounds back and fills time by running circles around me as I walk. It's right up here, I tell her, laughing. She looks up at me, tongue hanging out. Oh, go on, I'll meet you up there. So she takes off, leading the way to my cliff. It's not the same cliff. It's a new one. I found this spot, a place where I can think and try to fit the pieces of my life together. Faintly, in the far recesses of my mind, I hear, remember, that same soft, familiar voice from long ago. Remember what you know. The voice gets a little stronger as I focus in on it. Remember your medicine pouch, June. Remember what you know. I'm more than a little startled. I haven't heard that voice for a really long time. Sifting through my purse, I find the small pouch from childhood, my medicine pouch. I remove the small stone totems and I take a moment with each, remembering I haven't had them out since I left home. I set each out on the ground before me and the memories begin to swirl. I didn't realize how much I missed each of them. I take a moment with the little carving of the lady with the red scarf. I miss Grandma. Remember. I wonder if I can still get there. I wonder if they'll still be there. Looking out over the treetops, I can hear the soothing sounds of the running water below. Remember. The water of life, the teacher once said. You came here through the water of life. Glancing down, I notice a large buck at the water's edge. Feeling my presence, he turns his noble head up to meet my gaze. I can feel him, his strength and his peace. The memories begin to flood in, all of our grand adventures, the rainbow bridge, the teacher, my haven of safety. I think until the words run dry, my mind still and very calm. I slip gently to the other side, just like old times. Looking around, I notice that things haven't changed much. I'm deposited right in the meadow, just like when I was a kid. Up ahead on the path, in all his glorious Tigwa. My heart jumps. My legs start moving as if they have a mind of their own, and we cover the distance that separates us quickly. I throw my arms around his neck and I snuggle my face down in his soft blue-black fur. Tigger purrs softly. After a moment, he says, "Stand back now, June. I want to get a good look at you. It's been a while." I pipe in, "It's been forever. I didn't know if I could come." I say, looking down the length of myself as a grown-up. And that you are. I would say that you have done quite well, sweet June. You have grown up to be a quite beautiful woman. I thought maybe it was all just my imagination. The doctors thought I made it all up, made you up. My voice trails off. I take a good look around. It feels good to be here. I heard you calling my name when I was back on the cliff. That's why we called you here today, June. After all the battles we fought, we don't want you to fall into the slumber. The slumber, I ask. The grown-ups down there seem to fall into some sort of slumber. They forget the magic. They forget to play and laugh. You need to stay awake to not get lulled in. As for being a grown-up, know that you can come here anytime. Age doesn't matter. This is God's country. Come on, let's take a walk. I fall in beside him and we begin to make our way down the familiar path. Where are we going? Some things never change, Tigwood chuckles, always with the questions. Everyone is gathered in the village. We've been waiting a long time for you to remember, June. With that, I fall into an unaccustomed silence and soak in the familiar surroundings. The meadow with wildflowers of all colors, but the poppies, Grandma's flower majestically rises above it all. The trees are just up ahead. Entering the woods, I begin to hear the familiar rustling of the animals and the flowing water in the distance. As the waterfall comes into view, it takes my breath away. It's beautiful, so many shades of green, and at the river's edge, meeting my gaze, is a magnificent elk. His beautiful rack dips into a graceful bow before returning to the pleasures of the water. Up ahead, as if appearing out of nowhere, is the bridge. The dense, heavy light of the colors seemingly join the earth on either side of the river. It only appears for those who are called. The tingling starts with my toes as my foot touches the bridge, as if the light were circulating through my body. I've never really stepped on it before. I've always had a ride. But today, I'm walking in on my own. I stand a little taller, and I reach over and touch my friend. I missed you, Tigwa. I have missed this, and I spread my arms out wide. The peace. It's been lonely down there. I'm sick all the time. The doctors have labeled me with all these disorders. No one seems to understand. They all think I'm crazy, but I don't. You're not crazy, June. You just know. They've all forgotten, Tigwa replies. Arriving on solid ground, we're met by the lady with the flowing red scarf. I break into a run and I wrap my arms around the woman's neck. Grandma, I cry. Tears stream freely down my face. Shh. There, Junebug. I have missed you so much, I say between sobs. It's so hard to live down there without you, Grandma. Shh. You hush now. We have some celebrating to do. We have our little Junebug back. We thought you would never come. It's been too long, the woman croons. Let's join the others. We meander on down the path to the village, and I can't keep my hands off of either of them. Their touch feels so good, brings back so many good memories. I've spent a lot of time lately with the bad ones. Freedom. Coming up to the edge of the village, I see everyone's gathered. They're all here, the teacher, the seer, Mahala, Grandma, and Tigwa at my side. Oh, there's Zuni and the noble paint mare. And Ginger. I can't contain myself. I dash to her first, throwing my arms around her neck. I have missed you so much, all of you. Hugs all around. After the greetings are over, the flap to the seer's tent is lifted, and the familiar scent of sage is wafting from the opening. The accustomed fire in the center. Everyone takes a seat, forming the circle. Tigwa on one side, between me and the seer. Grandma on the other. The seer rises, taking the floor. The murmurs around the room quiet. I could hear a pin drop. He begins to speak. June, we have called you here today to help you remember. It's time for you to put the last of these pieces together. You have things to do. It's time to remember. I can feel the nerves building in my belly. I'm not sure I want to remember, but the burning need. With that, the cup is raised to his lips and passed on to the teacher, and one by one the cup is raised. And now it's my turn, lifting the cup with a familiar twinge. I remember my distaste of the liquid as a child. A smile crosses as the potion slides down gently. From the ground at his side, the seer takes the grand pipe into his hands. Holding it high, he chants for the gods to show me all that I need to see. Lowering the pipe, he takes a draw. The pipe makes its way around the circle, and as that smoke fills my lungs, I close my eyes, enjoying the soft, tingly feeling that begins to move through my body. The seer brings me back by saying, June, today we're going to see your life. Pay close attention. Look objectively and see. Watch through the eyes of a survivor. You have fought and won many battles. Your strength and courage have set the stage for all of the change. So in between the lines, learn and remember. It's time for you now. And with that, it's as if I'm watching a movie. The horror of my childhood plays out in front of my eyes. The bathtub, flowing with water and meeting Tigla for the first time. Dad and his lurking, slipping in and out of my bedroom. The gorilla. I can feel myself smiling. That was a good moment. The trailer, the basement, all the ugliness, it's all there. But watching from here, there is a balance, a justice. I had so much fun coming here. Such warmth and love here. And Grandma. There she is with me on her heels. I watch it all play out. It's as if I can watch both places at the same time. I can see the parts I missed while coming here. They're in a shock somehow. Dad in my bed, I knew. I just couldn't see. Somehow having the pictures filled a vacancy, a place where doubt seemed to lurk. Because in their picture, the picture down there, nothing ever really happened to me. According to them, I had a perfect childhood. Just forget about it. So many fun times I never could understand. Were we living in two separate movies? Forgive and forget? I guess as long as the masks are kept on, they can keep up the charade. Nicely decorated homes, pretty clothes, just keep the mask in place. Mine has been slipping lately. I can't seem to play both roles anymore. As I watch, a strength begins to build inside. I am a survivor. Some want me to be a victim. Others want me to pretend that I made it all up. Watching, I'm able to see what was. The veils fall away. I have a feeling of pride growing as I watch the little girl maneuver all those horrible situations. Her brilliance, her magic. She figured out how to come here. She used everything that she was taught to survive. She did that. She played full out. I had to smile. As the pictures began to fade from view, I can feel myself coming back to the present. Feeling different somehow. Everything has a different clarity. It's a little sharper around the edges. More whole somehow. Now it's my turn to give her life. Life is more than surviving, June. The seer touches my shoulder gently. You are a courageous warrior, June, with the truth as your weapon. This is your movie, your life. You are the director. Don't make the same mistake and become invisible. Make your movie with thought, conviction, and integrity. One choice at a time. It's time to be you. And you get to decide who that is. You get to decide what she likes. This is your life. Become who you were intended to be. Stand tall in your experiences and shout them out to the world. They need to know. The world needs to wake up. Children come into this world with trust in the guardianship of their parents, their mothers. They are not property. There is no ownership. The choice to bring life to this planet is a pact with the Creator. It is a choice, and in that choice comes the vows of safety and nurturing love. Love that does no harm. Protection and safety is their God-given right. Your girls are the first women in your lineage to experience a childhood of honor, respect, and support. They had a good daddy, a daddy who respected their bodies and respected their minds. And you are their mother. They know what love means. You broke away, June. You broke the cycle. Out of the dust of the cancer rises a new, stronger, healthier tree. You are the seed, your children and grandchildren, the branches, and from here it grows. Your diligence in your quest for wholeness has given all those who come after the gift of freedom. With that, he rises and the rest begin to follow. We're led by the teacher down to the river and gather around the base of the rainbow. The teacher begins to speak. June, the healing waters of Rainbow Bridge are here before you. Taking my hand, he leads me under the base of the bridge. The others form part of a circle from river's edge to river's edge. The teacher and I in the center. I'm facing him, both hands in his grasp. He looks into my eyes intently and says softly, upon entering the water, all will be washed clean. All pain, all suffering. With the water, you will find balance and clarity, freedom from the past. With these words, he guides me into the water. I can feel the coolness inching its way up my legs with each step. The current is flowing against my body, tugging at my dress. The doors to the many secrets seemingly pushed open with the power of the water. With their release, the dawning, the realization, they aren't my secrets anyway. They can have them back. They can guard them themselves. I'm off duty now. I take a deep breath before the final step takes me under. Submerged, I can feel the water circulating around me as if going inside and cleaning out every crevice. A beam of light at the surface catches my attention. I'm drawn like a moth. As I burst through the surface, I can feel the warmth from the light on my face pouring into my body. I look around. One at a time, women begin to erupt through the surface of the water. First one, then two. In the end, hundreds emerge as if catching their breath after being held under far too long. Freedom. Beckoned ashore by the teacher, I work to regain my composure. I feel as light as air. The weight I've carried for so long has been washed away with the current. Doors open, secrets out, light flows through the dark, dank rooms that are hidden deep inside. A sparkle of deep peace enters my heart. The teacher reaches for my hand to guide me from the water. Here in the center of the circle, all of my loved ones are gathered around. The teacher begins to stroke my hand. It's time to go back to the world and tell them what you have learned, June. You have a strong voice and a pure heart. There are so many others, wounded and violated. Bring out the survivor in them. Show them what they are missing. Help them to be free. Your light and truths can guide many out of the darkness. Help them awaken from the slumber. Don't forget, June. Remember, always remember. Be vigilant of the slumber. Through the stillness of your mind, you will keep your peace and your clarity. With that, I begin to feel my eyes getting heavier. I remember the familiar signal. There I am perched on my cliff, the water flowing below. Sadie standing guard over our spot. The big buck is still gazing up in my direction, as if time stood still. That strange feeling of wonder tingles in my chest. I see my totems on the ground before me. One by one, I return them lovingly to my worn and tattered medicine pouch. The panther I hold tight for a second, remembering the vibrancy emanating from him, his coat shining. My dear, dear friend and protector. Faintly, as if way off in the distance I can hear. I'm always with you, June. Always watching. Remember, remember, remember. For those of you that have walked with me through this journey through Junebug, I want to thank you. It's been an interesting journey for me. Some of those points in my lifetime still can bring a tear to my eye. Mostly my grandma and my horse, right? So I'm hoping that this story of triumph can open some doors for conversations with those young ones that you love. So grab your copy. Cherie, Doyen, Amazon, Junebug, right? And hop on Facebook, right, at Cherie's Book Corner. See what all's there.